Doug, at first blush, what did you think when you saw the Deshaun Watson trade news?
Well, now that I heard the story, I think it's comical. It's like he didn't want to go to Cleveland, but hey, if you want to pay me more money than God, sure, I'll come to Cleveland. Whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, I get the balls of this guy. He's got 22 pending civil deals. He hasn't played. Here's my thing with the Deshaun Watson thing. Okay, his agent, who's obviously brilliant, much smarter than me. They signed a deal in Jacksonville for Jalen Ramsey, paid him more than any other guy. Then, with I think a year or 2 years left, he won a new deal, and when they wouldn't give it to him, he quit on the team. And that's basically what Deshaun Watson did. The problem with the Deshaun Watson thing is he had signed a deal 10 months earlier, and he got paid the first 3 years up front. And that last year that he sat out, that wasn't under the terms of the new deal. That's the old deal. So he actually is now going to get his third contract. He didn't play a snap under his second contract. He's still being sued for all these civil suits, whatever. And he's going to get a completely guaranteed 5-year contract. And this is after Cleveland said they want an adult in the room. I don't know. Look, he's a really talented guy, and all of the accusations came as a surprise to everybody in the NFL because the thought is that, he's just his background. Anytime he did background research, you're blown away by how great a dude he is. But I don't know. That one strikes me as odd.
Well, and that was going to be my question for you, Doug, is that I look at the situation and say, never question another man's money. Go get money that's going to take care of your family for generations to come. But, a couple days, a day after Davante Adams leaves Green Bay, after Aaron Rodgers becomes the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, you now have Deshaun Watson getting all this money to go to the AFC North with all these great quarterbacks across the AFC, as opposed to what we thought he was going to end up doing, which is go to the NFC South, which is about to be wide open in a year or two when Tom Brady officially steps away. The NFC itself is wide open. Just what do you make of that angle? Because I get money, I get taking care of your family, but no one could argue that the better path to win at the highest level, which is what's supposed to be a big part of this, is not in Cleveland.
So what's the question?
Just what do you make of the decision to go to the AFC? To me, it doesn't make sense, but I'll give you the floor.
Look, I think Cleveland's super talented. Obviously they're going to have new wide receivers or whatever, but they're super talented. I don't think anybody's ever questioned their level of talent, just competency at head coach and competency at quarterback. That said, yeah, I do think you should pay attention to division. Baltimore had 17 guys on IR. By the way, Lamar Jackson might be smarter than everybody, right? Because he's just waiting, not answering the phone, and whether Baltimore gives him the money or somebody else, he's going to get a gigantic check coming up here. But yeah, they're still going to be behind Baltimore, I would think, and they'll still be behind Cincinnati, one would think. And then, Pittsburgh hasn't had a losing season with their head coach. I don't know what they do at quarterback. If Mitch Trubisky and who else? Who am I thinking of? Oklahoma State. Well, Beyer, help me out. Quarterback. Mason Rudolph. Yeah. Whoever their quarterback is of those two, obviously reputation-wise isn't near the other three. But Pittsburgh has still figured it out, even with Ben, who they couldn't run half their plays last year. So, yeah, I don't know if you pay attention to the NFC. I think Aaron, most of those guys, obviously he's not caught up in winning. Yeah. If he was caught up in winning, he wouldn't have said, "Hey, Browns, I don't want to go there but you want to pay me some more money." Because obviously what's coming out now from the NFL insiders, it was about winning. No. If it was about winning, then it'd been Cleveland. But there's also, Atlanta wouldn't have been taken so seriously. I honestly think Carolina would have. I agree with Dan Beyer. Dan has said for a while that Carolina is kind of a quarterback away if they have Connor McCaffrey. They have Christian McCaffrey. So, I'm fascinated by it. But look, at least we'd have to stop talking about Houston and Deshaun Watson. Now, I guess we'll talk about Baker Mayfield, and now you'll get a true sense of what everybody thinks of Baker Mayfield. Because if people like Baker Mayfield, there'll be a bidding war for him. If everybody else comes to the conclusion that most of us have, which he's fine, he's a starter, not a great one, and he's really good in commercials, better in commercials than he is in football, then yeah, that's reasonable. If there's a bidding war for him, then maybe we underrate him. If there's no market for him, then we overrate him. Like, all of those things are very possible or even likely.
You dropped a what's the question to Aaron. That should have been the name of Jeopardy, now that I think about it. Like, it makes a lot more sense for that show to be called What's the Question instead of Jeopardy.
What's the question, Aaron?
Yeah.
I got the answer that I wanted, though, which is that it's clearly not about winning, which is what was going on in my head, but I didn't want to be the only one that was thinking it. So
well, I know. That's the whole – this is the whole thing with Deshaun. And I said I didn't think he was a top 10 quarterback back when and everybody's like, well, yeah. I've talked to NFL guys. They're like, look, he's good, but he's not – he holds the ball a little bit long. He's not a great decision maker in the red area. And, like, we can't do the LeBron James thing with him and the Texans, right? We can't – when they get a 24-0 lead, that's all Deshaun Watson. They choke away that lead, none of it's Deshaun Watson. Like, the truth is somewhere in the middle there. There's a reason that it was his team and they didn't win. So, again, not all his fault, but there's at least some blame to go around. And so with that in mind, I've never been huge, like, he's not Michael Jordan. He's not synonymous with winning. And I don't think Houston was as poorly run as people want you to believe, especially in that division. But he's just got to get back out to playing football. And he's still very early in what should be a long and storied career.
Doug Gottlieb joining us here on the Doug Gottlieb Show. He's Aaron Torres. I'm Dan Beyer, sitting in for Doug today, but Doug joining us talking about all of the hot topics. Another one on Watson, because you alluded to this, and I know we've talked about this on the show, but there seems to be no mention of the 22 civil cases. Is this going away quicker than we thought? Because it's 22 civil cases, 22 women saying that he did these things. How do you think this plays out? Is this going away quicker than you thought, or does this still stick around with Watson even when he goes to Cleveland?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. I think it's the most bizarre thing ever, especially when we're in this. It's like it goes against narratives you get all the time. Like, you get people all the time saying, like that there's still a racial implication for quarterbacks. Like, who are we kidding? The guy hasn't played football in a year. Okay, he has 22 pending civil cases against him, and he just got a $230 million guarantee. Why? Because he's a really good quarterback, and they needed him. And the only way to entice him to waiving that no-trade clause is to offer him more money than he can get elsewhere. Like, it's not because he's black, it's not because he's white, it's because he's good at football, which I guess is the way it should be. Now, the other part to it, though, is we're in this time where we're finally protecting and looking out for women in the world of sports. Doesn't this go counter to it? I don't know. I don't know how real these accusations are. I can only tell you that I wouldn't want to have a quarterback on my team if any of these are real. And my issue with it is, like, yeah, you can have a bad interaction with a person or two, and they can misperceive you, but this many people seems like a lot.
What did you make of the Davante Adams news yesterday, Doug? I mean, obviously there were, just the Aaron Rodgers element of it, coming back, signing that massive contract. Davante Adams wants out a short time after. What did you make of the news yesterday?
Well, I think the giveaway was when they franchise tagged him, because they franchise tagged him right after they had Aaron Rodgers announced he's staying. So with that in mind, there had to have been a plan in place. And the question becomes, what is that plan? Is it rookie wide receivers? Are they going to trade for somebody? Or are they going to sign somebody or sign a couple of somebodies? I think it makes more sense than, the Twitter world is like, oh, hand the championship to the Raiders or the AFC West. Like, okay, he's, going to be 30. It's a ton of money. He's very, very good. He's not the best wide receiver in the league. He's very, very good. But, again, you're paying him for what he's going to do for the next 4 years, not what he's done for the last 4 years. And he does get hurt. And in addition to being hurt, it's not like he's a burner. He's a very, very good player. But does he make you an absolute playoff team? The answer, my estimation, is no. Like people freaking out about Jamie Collins. Like Jamie Collins fits their system. and he knows all those guys. That makes sense. But Jamie Collins isn't worth on the open market. I mean, I guess he is because they paid it, but he should be.